Right, guys, Liverpool have just beaten Tottenham by 2 goals to 1 at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And it was a game of two halves, 100%. Liverpool were the better side first half, but Tottenham second half were by far the better side. I think a draw would probably have been the fair result, in all honesty. Liverpool started off better. Tottenham were having a lot of problems down their right-hand side, and Nunez on the left wing for Liverpool was finding it quite easy to get in behind, and I think this was down to Tottenham having a back three of Dyer, Longley and Davis. Now individually they're all good players, but having Longley and Davis, two left footers, neither one of them is going to play on the right side of defence. They're both capable of playing on the outer sort of centre-back role of the three, but because they're both left-footed, you don't want a left-footer playing on the right side ideally. So Dyer got shifted out to the right centre-back role, which is a position he's very unfamiliar with, and he did look a bit lost at times playing that role, and it caused Tottenham a few problems, especially with Emerson trying to get forward, because Emerson and Sessegnon's role today was to get up and down the pitch, like even more so than usual, because Tottenham only up front all they had was Kane and Perisic, so they had to get forward as well as defend, so they were having to do a lot of running today, because the midfield three and the back three weren't going to cover the wide positions really, so that was a big problem for Spurs, and that's why Liverpool had a lot of success in the first half. Salah took his goal well. It was a really tidy touch and quick finish, caught Lloris off with how quick he struck it, I personally think. And the second one, it's an error from Dyer, but it's one of them where it happens. Like, you're going to make a couple of them this season, whoever you are, I think. So it was again a really good finish by Salah, and it looks to me like Salah's got his confidence back. He scored 8 goals in his last 8 games. There's been a lot of people saying, "Oh, Mo Salah's finished." That's not the case at all. He's just had a tricky spell since this year really. He's had moments throughout the year where he's looked really good, but over the past couple of months he looks back to his old self. He didn't have a great start to this season, and he had quite a poor finish to last season for his standards, but his numbers though are still very good throughout the year. It's just he is a victim of his own success more than anything. But yeah, 2 really well taken goals today. And Liverpool were the better side first half. There was a penalty shout for Tottenham. The only time Liverpool did look a little bit dodgy defensively was there was a 5-minute period where Tottenham were getting forward. Perisic hit the post after his header deflected off Alisson to hit the woodwork. And there was a penalty shout for Sessegnon getting down the left side. And it's a tough one because it's not a stonewall penalty. It's not one where it's a disgraceful decision where they haven't given it. Like, there's genuine debate to be had. Is it a penalty? For me, I can understand both sides. I wouldn't be too annoyed either way, because at the end of the day, Alexander-Arnold has put his hand on him and has put a little bit of pressure on him and done enough to put him off crossing the ball or whatever he was going to do. But at the same time, it's not massive contact. It's more, I say he put his hand on him, it's more forearm, so it's what is known as putting pressure on the player. So some refs give it, some don't. I wouldn't expect VAR to overturn it if they are going for clear and obvious errors. But I think that's one that could have gone either way, to be honest. A big different day, different outcome. But yeah, from second half onwards, Tottenham just came out of different sides. And from what I've gathered, I don't think I've watched Tottenham in a couple of weeks, but that's been the story of their game of late. Start slow first half, but then half time change things and become more positive with the ball. And that's what happened. Liverpool, for the majority of the second half, couldn't get the ball out of their own box and caused very few problems in attack. And I thought it was just crying out for a substitution of Jordan Henderson to come on earlier, for probably Thiago, because Thiago just can't play at the when a team is putting pressure on Liverpool. Thiago can't keep up the aggressive physical pace of the Premier League. He does try to slow it down too much, and that's a problem, especially when your best chance of getting a goal in the second half is on the counter attack. You need someone who's going to get the ball forwards, like Curtis Jones, like Jordan Henderson, quickly. So that was a bit of a problem for Liverpool in the second half. But yeah, Spurs were unlucky on quite a few occasions. They had lots of chances throughout the second half. Kane took his goal really well after Kulusevski came on. And that's another thing I can understand about Conte's decision making. Kulusevski's obviously coming back from injury, so I understand why he didn't start him. But when he did come on, he looked like he'd been on a really good run of football, like the way he was playing. And also you have Lucas Moura on the bench and you don't play him, so that I found that a bit bizarre as well. Just playing Perisic off Kane, it was quite negative first half. But to be fair, second half he didn't even make any substitutions, and Tottenham just were putting a lot of pressure on. From just second half onwards, it was all Tottenham, and they did have lots of chances and probably should have scored more than one. I think on another day today, Liverpool probably don't win this game. The substitutions though made by Liverpool, I just found it a little bit confusing, because Liverpool didn't defend badly today, but they could have put themselves in a position, if Klopp had made a few better subs, where they didn't even have to take the pressure that Tottenham were applying on them. Because bringing Gomez on for Nunez with 5 minutes to go, that's just inviting more pressure. And especially with Gomez's form over the past few weeks as well, since that Manchester City game where he played really well. Like, he's had some dodgy performances. It's not what you ideally need. And also taking Nunez and Salah off, that just leaves, and Firmino as well, all three of the front three came off, and not one single forward player did come on. So that just meant whenever Liverpool want to get rid of the ball, it just goes straight back to long playing Dyer and Ben Davies, and then they can start another attack, and that it was constant pressure. And if it wasn't for Alisson today, it very easily could have been a different outcome. But yeah, it was a really good game. But I'm not a neutral fan, as you can see, Liverpool fan. But I'd assume it was one for the neutrals today, especially second half when Tottenham were putting a lot of pressure on. But Tottenham do seem to struggle against Liverpool at home, because I think there's been 4 games now since Tottenham moved into their new stadium, and Liverpool have won 3. The one Liverpool didn't win was last season, just before Christmas, and that was when Liverpool were heavily struck by COVID. They had lots of players missing. I think their midfield 3 was Tyler Morton, who's now on loan at Blackburn, James Milner, and I think it might have been Naby Keita. So Liverpool were really struggling in this fixture last season for players, but still came away with a point, which in the circumstances was a good point. But yeah, for Tottenham now, I think the talk of can they push for the title, no chance. Title this season, I think, is just between Arsenal and City, and it's just going to be a case of can Arsenal avoid a dip in form throughout the season. Otherwise City are just going to win it. So Tottenham, the aim's just got to be stay in the top 4, maintain your position there, because there's a lot more challenges this year than there usually is. Man United, despite the results today, have looked good recently. Liverpool, you expect to come back at some point. Today was a good performance, but you can't have results like Leeds and Nottingham Forest in the past couple of weeks. Who else? Newcastle are very much in form. I'm not expecting them to get top 4. I think top 6 was more of a realistic achievement or target. And on top of that as well, you've also got Chelsea to deal with. So there's a lot of teams who are going to be going for top 4 this season. But anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.